Several weeks ago, I was honored to be able to have attended the Governor's Awards for the Arts, the very first in Delaware. It was a black-tie affair held at the Hotel DuPont, and it was there, amidst all the pomp and circumstance, that Governor DuPont announced 3 distinguished winners, selected from hundreds of individuals and groups involved in the arts who contribute so much to the quality of life in our state. Now, one of the winners was Baby Coker, a Wilmington playwright whose recent work, Moti Miss Anne, enjoyed a successful run off Broadway. Also winning was Jack Lewis, a very busy visual artist from downstate who has contributed his talents, among other things, to improving the quality of life among the inmates in our state. Now, third winner was the Wilmington Opera Society, which has grown since its inception in 1945 into a major cultural institution, an institution where hundreds of volunteers work hand in hand with top-notch professionals to produce quality regional opera. Now, joining us tonight is Robert McCartney, the president of the Wilmington Opera Society, and with him is sculptor Rick Rothrock. Rick, who received a master's degree at the University of Delaware, was commissioned to design the award in which the artist received. Now, I want to welcome these gentlemen here. Gentlemen, welcome and congratulations. Bob, it must feel pretty good to have received this prestigious award for the Opera Society. It's come a long way since its inception, hasn't it?
Yes, indeed. We're very, very, very happy to have received it and proud to be represented here and representative of the people involved in the opera.
Mm-hmm. Now, for instance, what would you consider to be the major milestones in the Opera Society's development?
Well, I think it's 3, really. One in 1963, when the Opera Society decided to go from Breck's Mill and the local high school stage to the stage of the Playhouse. And then it was in 72 that we decided to pay the leads. Up until that time, it was all amateurs, all professional. Pay the leads, and that then opened up all the talent to us that we have today. And the third one, I think, was 1976, when we decided to commission an original opera, The Last of the Mohicans. This turned out to be very successful. It gained us a certain national recognition, and from then on, it was largely uphill.
Mm-hmm. Now, isn't the Wilmington Opera Society one of the few societies that has been able to successfully combine the use of volunteers with professional staff?
Yes, that's correct. A great many regional opera organizations have started out volunteer, but then decided to go professional. And once they started to go professional, they went completely professional and lost the volunteer effort. We've been able to sustain the interest of the some 150 people who make up the Opera Society, and we think that this is a real thing. To go fully professional, we simply couldn't afford it. I thought that the committee would support the cost involved, and so we're very happy that our volunteers have stayed with us and to make us the company we are today.
Now, of course, the Wilmington Opera Society has been very instrumental also in the restoration of the Grand Opera House, I understand.
Yes, in 1967, with the help of a local foundation, we undertook a study to determine the feasibility of restoring the Opera House. We didn't have enough support at that time to see a project through. However, in 1971, the Greater Wilmington Development Council used that study to mount the effort which resulted in reactivation of the Grand.
Now, you personally love opera, don't you? What do you get out of it?
Absolutely. Well, I think, first of all, I love the music. I mean, absolutely incomparable music. Secondly, I think it's meeting the very, very interesting people, these dedicated young professionals that we have the privilege of working with. And then our volunteers, the interplay of them is just, it's a thrilling experience, really.
Bob, let's meet that sculptor who designed the award that you won, Rick Rothrock. Rick, how are you today?
Very nice, thank you.
Now, Rick, you were selected among competitors for this award, is that correct?
Yeah, there were 9 people that made models or drawings for the award and proposal, and they chose mine.
Now, what material was the piece which was selected made of? Of course, we're looking at it now.
The model, the original model?
Yes.
Or this one?
Well, this one now, the one we're looking at.
This was made out of glass and silver and a piece of Brandywine granite and some walnut wood.
Now, the sculpture's not produced overnight, I know. It takes a lot of physical effort, and you just don't produce work overnight. It takes you a long time. For instance, what has a Rick Rothrock done or produced during the last year? What have you been involved in?
I started the year redesigning and rebuilding the monkey house at the zoo.
Ah, yes.
And spent about 6 months on that project, and from there went right into a major exhibit in Philadelphia at the Nexus Gallery, a one-man show, and from there bought a studio and started to rebuild and remodel a studio for myself to work in, and in that last 4-month period got the Governor's Award and designed it and built them.
Now, of course, you're very active in what's called environmental sculpture. Perhaps you could tell the viewers briefly what that's all about.
Environmental sculpture, I'd say, is when the environment or an environment is both the object and the subject of the artist working with it.
Now, of course, what you do is very physical. Do you ever have to hire help in doing your sculptures?
Yeah, I've had as many as 5 people working on a single piece. I think one of my favorite situations, we went out in the woods to get a piece of this rock, which is called exfoliation when it breaks off of a stone, and there was about a foot of snow, and the stone weighed about 800 pounds, and we tied 2 big long bars to it, and the 4 of us got on either end of the bars and proceeded to carry the stone about 200 yards through the snow in the woods, put it on the back of the truck.
A little different than one who is an artist in paint. You're working in heavy material, a lot of physical work.
I really enjoyed making a nice little sculpture.
Now, do you ever have to step back and examine what you're doing and perhaps even change directions in your art in order to grow?
Yeah, I think that's important, in fact, to re-examine each situation and to use it as an opportunity to change and to grow, yes.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show, Rick. And Bob, of course, you're going to want to stick around for the next segment because Kirill Huffaker is here to promote the High-Flying Peter Pan, the present production of the Wilmington Opera Society in conjunction with the Grand Opera House. And I think you viewers will enjoy it too, so don't go away.